So Jai Guru. Jai Guru. So today, as usual, an excerpt from Who Am I? And today's subject is devotion. Okay, so I'll read a piece first. Uniting the head with the heart, or knowledge with devotion, is very much needed, as many teachers today share only partial intellectual knowledge without acknowledging the need for the practice of devotion, which is limiting. Here, devotion is to be understood as non-dual. It is not devotion to an external deity, but to selfless self, which we are. As Shri Ramakant often said, there is nothing except selfless self. Why go to others for blessings? Place your hand on your own head and bless yourself. Traditionally, the two paths of knowledge, jnana, and devotion, bhakti, have been viewed as separate paths, but they are really intertwined. Without them both, there is an imbalance. Following either the path of knowledge or devotion exclusively will not enable us to see the whole picture, the ultimate truth. What does it mean to be devoted? It means you, the seeker, are passionate about tracking down the sought after, or tracking down who you are. You are driven, one-pointed and determined, committed to uncovering your source, your essence, light, peace, happiness, and love. Devotion is not something holy or the worship of something other. It is not observance or sanctity, but a practice that is dedicated to finding your truth. In the mystical tradition, the seeker is referred to as the lover, and the sought after, that which you are seeking, is referred to as the beloved. The beloved is your source, your reality, that has been obscured by Maya or illusion. Nourishing the spirit is just as important as looking after the body with food, clothing, exercise, bathing, etc. Regular attention to your presence, to selfless self, is essential. When the nectar seed of truth is planted in you, it needs to be constantly and lovingly nurtured with regular practice. This nectar plant requires your attention for it to grow and deepen. You need to take good care of it by offering and expressing your TLC, or tender, loving care. Water it, keep it in the light, and exercise patience to ensure that it grows into a sturdy, tall, and beautiful plant. If you ignore or neglect it, the plant will simply wither and die. But if you tend to it and watch it grow, your affection and love will grow in unison. We need to take care of our beloved source with love and devotion. Many Western seekers in particular are put off by the word devotion. Oh no, not devotion. And they run away at the very mention of the word. So what exactly is devotion? Here, we're not talking about a pious, holy kind of thing that involves praising and serving an external God or master. Not at all. Devotion is synonymous with earnestness. It means you are longing to know your real self, your true self. You are longing to know yourself perfectly as selfless self. Let's take a closer look. We are all devoted to something or other in life. We're obsessed, often fanatical, about something or someone. Sports teams or dramas like Game of Thrones, the film or novel series like Harry Potter, or a particular music genre, band member, career, pets, political causes, etc. In the caring profession, the good doctors, nurses, and carers are devoted to their patients. They have a natural urge to help and care for them, do what they can, ease their suffering, and improve their lives. Closer to home, if you are devoted to your husband, wife, parents, grandparents, or close friends, it is fair to say that there is nothing you would not do for them because you love them. We don't have to question, to think even for a moment, will we or will we not look after them? We are driven by our impulse to care and to love. This instinctive force is naturally inbuilt and moves us to express it as love in action. Devotion here means caring for and loving your beloved in the way you care for and love your nearest and dearest, your partner or your best friend. Devotion is self-attention. The practice of devotion means fixing your attention on your reality. When this occurs, it shuts down the thought factory, with the effect that the mind stops manufacturing thoughts and you remain ego-free. Self-devotion can be described as the ultimate love affair, which culminates in the union of the lover and the beloved in oneness. The practice of devotion opens the heart. As the seeker tracks down the sought after, you may have intense experiences of heightened warmth, burning truth, and profound intimacy. And in time, knowing and being will draw closer and closer to one another until eventually they merge as one, beyond knowingness, beyond beingness. When this occurs, you will know what you are and you will be what you know. So, how can we practice devotion? In our lineage, we can follow the example of our teacher, Shri Ramakant Maharaj, and bow to the images of the lineage masters, in the same way that we observed them bowing to their masters daily. All the realized masters continued to express their devotion to their masters. Devotion does not suddenly end with liberation. They know only too well that it is by their Master's grace that self-realization has taken place. We frequently heard Shri Ramakant Maharaj saying, quote, "It is by the grace of my Master, Shri Nisargadatta Maharaj, that I am now sharing these discourses with you," unquote. Or at other times he would say, "I am just a skeleton, my Master's puppet. It is Nisargadatta who speaks through me." If we are sincere about our search, we will show our devotion to our teacher stroke master by following their teachings, instructions, and guidance. Devotion to the masters leads to self-devotion. How? Because we are acting in accordance with the will of the master instead of in accordance with our small, ego-driven will. And in time, as we draw closer to our teacher, we simultaneously grow closer to selfless self. After all, there is only one, not two. Therefore, the Leela, or play, of our relationship with our teacher is just that, a play. However, this process helps us move towards our goal of uncovering and uniting with our true self, selfless self. Jai Guru. Jai Guru. And now to some questions. So here's a question. In the lineage, we are encouraged to bow to the masters. To me, that is duality. How can it not be? And I said, you see it as duality because you are coming from a body-based perspective. You are not separate from the master. There is no difference between you and the master. And secondly, the master is not a person. He is not the form. These self-realized masters have transcended the body-mind. So you are not bowing to a human being, you are bowing to the Absolute. And this act of bowing to them deepens our conviction that we are that. And subsequently, it brings us closer to self-realization. When we bow to their divinity, we are bowing to that one same divinity within us. Jai Guru. Next. When I listen to the bhajans, immediately I feel the presence of the masters. Answer. I have often heard this being said. It is not surprising in a way because the masters sang these bhajans daily and continued to sing them until they left the body. There is a strong energy in the bhajans that comes from the strong link to the masters who have been singing them over and over again for decades. Jai Guru. Question. All of us are doing practice. Everyone is involved in different ways. Everyone is repeating mantra as much as possible, meditating, being with oneself, with selfless self, concentrating on the concentrator, etc. But nevertheless, every day, to some extent or other, we are again involved in illusion, doing our work, doing business, communicating with people, returning again and again to old destructive habits, etc. And it turns out that through practice, we purify ourselves, get rid of illusion. But when we get involved again in illusion, we get polluted, clogged. And it is like a kind of tug of war. And at some point over time, as we continue to do the practice, such distractions and involvements in illusion become less and less. Purification happens more and more. And at some point, the tightrope is on our side and spontaneous conviction comes. Or is it not so? Jai Guru. Answer. If you practice regularly, then the layers of illusion will gradually dissolve. You may not be aware of any changes taking place, but they are taking place. In time, you will notice that you are not dragged into the illusion as much, but more able to remain as the witness. Keep up the practice and conviction will come. Jai Guru. Another question. In Selfless Self, Shri Ramakant Maharaj talks about not neglecting family members, family life, etc. Otherwise, it is selfish spirituality. Okay, I admit that I have shifted a lot of responsibilities to my wife. She's constantly tired, gets stressed, depressed on that basis. Constantly, when my help or involvement is needed, I am in my room doing my practice. Meditation, bhajans, meetings, etc. And no matter what happens, I always continue my practice. With the thought that I don't care about anything, and plus when there are some dramas, problems, different situations with children, I convince myself that nothing is really happening, that it is all an illusion, a distraction from reality, and I try not to get involved and not to give it any serious importance. This way I am self-distracted. On the other hand, if I dedicate time to my family, children, I will have no time for meditation, bhajans, etc. What to do about it all? Jai Guru. And here I said, there are a lot of I's in your question. Remember that while you're attending to your work and practice or whatever activity, you are not the doer. If you think you are, it will drain and stress you. And that sounds like what's been happening. Let Selfless Self attend to everything and you stay as the witness. Jai Guru. Question. I had such a wonderful experience of connecting to deep presence yesterday while reading the book Be With You. I had the day off and read it twice in the nourishing waters of a hot spring. I found that Maharaj came through very powerfully in awakening thoughtless reality. Deep thank you for your labour of love. I need more time to marinate in the self and will contact you when more ready for Nam Mantra initiation. And I said, sounds like a lovely space yesterday. You're right, take your time to prepare. There is no hurry. And if you take things slowly, then the initiation itself will be all the more rewarding because you will feel ready. It is very, very important that you're absolutely sure that initiation is right for you. Don't go ahead if you have any doubts, because these doubts will linger and then interfere with your practice. Jai Guru. Question. I have been reading in Selfless Self that the mantra I am Brahman, Brahman I am, is the Nam mantra. Answer. You can use this mantra until you receive the Nam mantra, but this is not the Nam mantra, which is a secret mantra that is given in private. However, its meaning is the same as I am Brahman, Brahman I am. The Nam mantra has a lot of power. It remains a secret mantra in order to preserve its power. If, for example, it is exposed and becomes just like any ordinary term or words in common usage, it will lose its power. Jai Guru. Question. I am excited to share that things have been happening, miracles. I was working in the office and then my attention was drawn to a map on the wall. And suddenly the image of Shri Nisargadatta appeared on the map. I was stunned. I stared at it and then it disappeared. A few weeks later, I passed by a picture of my husband that was sitting on a table. And then suddenly, my husband's face changed to the face of Shri Bausaheb Maharaj. He is the head of our lineage, a giant. I was overwhelmed. What does this mean? I am overjoyed. So I said, this is wonderful to hear. I know how close you are to Nisargadatta Maharaj. When the masters appear in this way, they are encouraging you in your practice and telling you that what you're doing is correct. You're on the right track. And seeing Bausaheb Maharaj is amazing too. He has such authority and he is also appearing to encourage you, bless you, and reassure you that progress is being made. These are indeed miracles. Hold on to them. Don't forget them too easily, because the masters are blessing you and gracing you with your presence, with their presence. Many seekers long for this kind of experience. Don't take them lightly. And when such things happen, make sure that you express your deep thanks to them. Be humble and bow to them. And when times are difficult, remember these moments. They will give you strength and courage to overcome the problems. Jai Guru. Question. I wanted to ask you if there is any member of Master Shri Siddharameshwar Maharaj's family who teaches in India or following the steps of the great master? Or is there anyone in Nashik Ashram who holds the teachings after Master Shri Ramakant left his human body? And I said, there was the beautiful grandson of Shri Siddharameshwar Maharaj called Shri Balwant Maharaj. Unfortunately, he got COVID and left the body around 2 years ago. I met him a few times. His company is blissful. There is no one at the ashram in Nashik currently. What usually happens is that there is often a gap between the masters until suddenly and spontaneously another one arises. Jai Guru. Question. I just finished the reading of Selfless Self, and I also listened to the audiobook in YouTube channel, stopping at chapter 76. This book is amazing, hammered the ego continuously again and again, and I was trying to switch the attention to the invisible, formless, unidentified identity. Sometimes I stop reading and meditate for a while. The ego almost dissolves. So far, no problem with the conviction. That is why I came to you. I really want to know the true reality. And the answer, I said, is good to hear about the effects of reading Selfless Self, but slow down. It is important to read very slowly in order to absorb the knowledge. Your enthusiasm is great, but there is no hurry. It is best to read one passage at a time and then meditate on it, dwell on it, churn it over and over. And yes, the audiobook of Selfless Self will bring different teachings to your attention. It is also a good way of absorbing the teachings. Jai Guru. Question. I have been reading Selfless Self, and now I have just finished Who Am I? For me, they go together well. They are a perfect match. Selfless Self is very direct and straightforward, whereas Who Am I is different. The part 1 to part 3 explains some concepts, key concepts, and the elaboration on them is simple and easy to understand. Part 4 to part 6 are very practical. After I have spent some time practicing, I will read the book again, and then I may have more understanding. So I said, good to hear. Both books are meant to be read many times. Selfless Self has a lot of power, and many readers have said that when they read it, it feels as if Maharaj is talking directly to them. This is the effect of direct knowledge. There is a lot of repetition in this book, but we need the hammering to remove all the layers of illusion which we have accumulated over a lifetime. Who Am I breaks down the teachings to a very simple language that makes them accessible to all. One need not know anything about Advaita or non-duality before reading this book. It is a very practical manual that you can refer to again and again. So keep reading slowly and absorbing. Jai Guru. Question. I was shocked when I came across someone who had revealed the sacred Nam mantra. I thought it was a secret. Answer. Yes, we are aware of this, and yes, it is supposed to be kept secret. That is what we promise the Master who initiates us. Maharaj's wife and son have contacted this devotee and told him to remove this video. But the person who uploaded it has refused, sadly. So there is nothing further we can do. This action has come from the ego. It has come from someone who is power hungry in search of gathering followers. That is all I'm going to say on the matter. Jai Guru. Moving on. I love the Bhajan Chidananda, and the text is wonderful, pure Advaita. Where does this bhajan come from? And I said, it is beautiful, and really it contains the whole teachings in a nutshell. Using the neti-neti approach, we are reminded that we are not the body, not the mind, not this, not that we are no thing. It was written by Shri Adi Shankaracharya, the great Hindu philosopher, Advaita Vedantic scholar and revered saint. He summarized the non-dualistic philosophy in just 6 stanzas. His remarkable impromptu composition encapsulated the Advaita Vedanta philosophy in its entirety. There is nothing but Atma, the true self, complete peace, freedom and joy. I am that eternal knowing and bliss, Shiva, love and pure consciousness. Jai Guru. Question. I have not read Timeless Years with Shri Ramakant Maharaj because I have a tendency to compare experiences. And I said, I would encourage you to read it. The best way to read this book is for you not to read it as if it was the story and experiences of Charles and myself. Read it as your story. And if you do it in this way, it will take you on the journey, travelling to Nashik and meeting Maharaj. Many who missed the opportunity of being with Maharaj feel that they can now meet him and get to know him through this book. Step into my shoes and soon you will be with him. Also, those who have read it tell me that the book has had the effect of opening up their heart and increasing their devotion. And not only that, the book offers a unique perspective and deep insight into the Guru-disciple relationship. Jai Guru. Here are some related questions regarding Nam Mantra meditation. After Nam Mantra, questioner says, after Nam Mantra and still within meditation, there arose faces of anonymous individuals that appeared and then disappeared within space. This was followed later by a very high definition view of a busy, populated street scene within that space. And I said, this is an example of how everything is projected from your inner presence. And next question. After Nam Mantra and still within meditation, there arose from darkness a golden light. Within that golden light were high frequency flashes of brilliance, sharply bright and then extinguished. It felt like a field of souls. And I said, the golden light sounds lovely. We don't usually talk about souls in Advaita as it suggests separation, and we are one in essence. Question. During the latter part of the Nam Mantra meditation, there was a physical shaking of the body and a rapidly speeding up of the mantra. It felt as though internally a need to smash down the walls of illusion. This need was very pronounced when compared to other meditations. This meditation was intense, with the will to break through, but at the same time, it felt the intensity was down to a resistance in me not to see the truth. I said, the physical shaking and speeding up of the mantra means that the vibration of the Nam is now working more strongly within you. Don't pay much attention to the body shaking. Jai Guru. Question. As part of the practice, a question has arisen in meditation. If everything comes out of nothing and dissolves back into nothing, what is the purpose of enlightenment in this something? Do you have any comment for me? My own answer came as, you're an actor in this world, and through enlightenment, you become the director. And I said, the purpose of enlightenment is to wake up from the dream and realize that you are ultimate reality. Actor and director are both concepts. Though director rightly infers that you are in charge, the only power that makes everything happen. Jai Guru. Do you have any additional advice for this journey? And I said, yes, I have plenty of advice, but first I would like to know what is going on with your practice, any experiences, insights, changes within, changes you can observe in your daily life, etc. It has only been a few months since your initiation. Throughout that time, you have kept up the practice with discipline, so keep going and stay in touch. I know you have said a couple of times that you want to be left alone, but this is not advisable in the beginning. I have already been on the journey and therefore can guide you and let you know how to avoid the pitfalls. When you are engaged in the process, it is not easy to see clearly for yourself what is going on. Therefore, please keep in touch. Jai Guru. Question. Namaste, Mother. How are you? I hope all is well. I am continuing day after day following the instruction of the Masters. I have noticed that my ego often gives me trouble. The mind does everything to take me away from the spiritual path and bring me back to the worldly life. It intensifies and presents me with non-existent problems with recurring negative thoughts. It looks like a crazy monkey. In meditation, I often have spontaneous hand movements like mudras and circular movements of the pelvis like an anti-clockwise spiral. I think Shri Ramakant Maharaj would say they are things that belong to the body, but the concentration when it happens tends to go towards these experiences, trying to cover the Guru mantra. I have difficulty with discrimination. Do I have to continuously discriminate the 5 bodies, or do I have to bring attention with discrimination every time the mind tends to move away from without it? I think that is. How can I discriminate correctly? I'm going through feelings of anger, depression, happiness, and peace like I'm on a roller coaster. A big hug with love and affection, full of gratitude for you and the teachers for the great gift granted. And I said, it is nice to be called Mother, thank you. It is very normal to be going through a mental and emotional whirlwind in the early days of reciting the Nam mantra. It is a clearing out process whereby everything is rising from deep within, from subconscious, including memories, feelings, experiences. That is the job of the mantra, to bring things up and discard them. All you have to do is keep reciting the Nam. Ignore what is going on and trust that the mantra is beginning to sweep everything away. I am not surprised your ego is causing you big trouble. That is because it does not wish to be crushed or annihilated. It is fighting for its survival. You say you're going through feelings of anger, depression, happiness, peace, etc. You can also do some self-inquiry. Ask yourself who is going through this, who is happy, who is depressed, etc. The answer, of course, is no one. These experiences are like the barking dog. Pay no heed. Focus on the Nam mantra and ignore the rest, including the mudras, another distraction. Can you read English? If so, I would suggest my book, Who Am I?, which has a lot of guidelines and useful tips as to how to manage the many different assaults from the illusory ego. But for now, persevere with your practice. It sounds as if it's going very, very well because of the roller coaster experience. Just remember to keep your feet on the ground. The process is one of removing all the illusory layers so that eventually your true nature will be uncovered. Jai Guru. Question. I attended the retreat for just 4 days instead of 10. I had some strange experiences, some deep meditations, but overall, it was not what I needed. The teachings were so watered down and full of platitudes compared to the ultimate truth. So I decided to leave early, and now I have some time. I would love to visit you if there is a way and if you are available. And I said, yes, of course, come. All along, I felt you should come for initiation instead of going on this retreat. And now the divine plan has come to fruition. Jai Guru. And at this point, we've gone through all the questions, and so I think I'm going to close there, unless anyone wishes to say anything or ask any questions. Okay, I'll say Jai Guru then.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru. Thank you for coming. Jai Guru.
Jai.
Thank you.
Jai Guru.
Jai Guru.